next, which is being a lot of year-end reports tonight. So we're going to bring up our recreation director. Come on.
Thank you guys. Couple of notes. Our basketball season ending. I just want to announce that our 8U, 9U, 10U will be going to the state and playing in Florence down there. And our 8U girls will also be playing in Myrtle Beach this coming weekend. So we hosted the Western District this past weekend at the Sports Center. Had a lot of folks. Only had one injury with the girl. She's from Walhalla, and she is feeling well. Fire department came down and they came down and did a real good job, and we're very happy with that. And we're very appreciative of the fire department coming down and taking care of that. Also, I'll also announce that Andre Clark has just been voted in to be on the athletic program. SCAP. He started last month, so he'll be on that. It's a 2-year cycle. He'll be on there. So what that does is those folks just represent the cities. They have meetings about some of the rule changes and things like that. It's just saying kind of give y'all some updates on our department. Opening day, baseball, March 8th. Flag football, Jamboree will be April 1st. Our Mauldin community cleanup is May 2nd. He's starting at 9. We normally get around 11 o'clock on that day. Our summer camp filled up. I think I said in the council meeting it was 8 to 10 minutes. People got online at 12 o'clock. It was full by 12:08, 12:09, 12:09. People just went online and just here. So we've got 85 kids signed up and about another 75 on the way. Our Trevor Booker camp is June 8th to the 12th. That'll be at Mauldin Sports Center. We do that every year. I think that's it on what we got. Some of the goals and objectives that we're going to try to do in our department. We're going to try to focus a little bit more on adult sports. We're going to restructure some job duties in our department. We're going to focus on doing some things with middle-aged people like me and Mr. Matty up there. Do some activities with them, softball and basketball. Don't know if we can go full-fledged with basketball team. I think we may try to do a 3-on-3 tournament, something like that. We've had basketball before. We've had a couple of issues before. I don't want to get back into that, but it's something we're really going to look at on some of the restructuring of the jobs that we're going to be doing and giving somebody to have the opportunity to do that. We'll also do kickball, volleyball. We're also working with the pickup yard. Then what we'll do, me and Gregory and Willie met them, and they want to set up a volleyball net up there. That's something that we can do with their folks at their place too, and also at Springfield Park, have a tournament, jump with them, try to just target the middle-aged folks that that want to go do something, just have something to do. And so also from cornhole tournaments, we'll try to look at doing that. And so this is some of the stuff we want to do, and there may be some other things coming. I apologize, guys, my sinuses are crazy right now, so the allergies are kicking my tail, so I apologize for sniffing. Just trying to get the adults involved like the youth. Our youth program is growing tremendously. We're up in the numbers. Basketball tournament numbers stay pretty much parallel than they were this past year, and so, but our adult force would probably offset some of the all the times we have new sports. I came up with a calendar that Seth wanted, and I looked at that calendar and it was jam-packed 7 days a week with our rentals. We're about every weekend. We rented this past weekend, the perfect game. We got them slotted for pretty much rest of this month, except for opening day, and then So what we're doing is shifting practices on weekends to Springfield and City. So all three of the parks are staying full. And so this financial impact that these tournaments bring into the city. And I say this, I've said this before. I rode by Saturday and noticed that the restaurant right beside us was just jam packed. Kids playing outside. It was nice outside. And again, Sunday I rode by there, and just that's kind of what we're wanting. So, and also we're getting, some revenue off the rental as well. And if you can look at our financials, you can tell we are surpassed what we're estimating filling last year. So we'll continue. So they're good partners to deal with when it comes to that. So if y'all have any questions? I know it's been a while since we've met. So if y'all have any questions or
Any questions?
Well, I think just a comment. I think it sounds like focusing on the adult league stuff, the fire department is looking for new customers. And that, so I'm close, because if Mr. Matney or I'm going to play basketball, I would hope the fire department.
I'm just gonna go home.
No, I appreciate you expanding on so many of all the things that the city does, including for our adults, and certainly, while there are lots of parents with kids, while there are lots of programs for kids, certainly I think part of the uniqueness of all that is the adult culture as well. I'm glad that you're doing that. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
No, I mean, I guess my comments just I like to hear it too. We're working on partnerships with Pickle Guard and places like that. Try to make use of those facilities. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a couple of questions. That you mentioned the 3x3 basketball tournament for adults, which I think we tried to do that last year, and I still offer to my fellow councilmen, anyone else who would like to join me in that, I will partake in that if it happens. But I know it didn't happen last time, so I'm curious. When you talk about shuffling some things around, what are some of your ideas to get more people involved in these types of adult sports?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just marketing it, and the parents that are out there now is involved in my programs with their youth, which we did not do that before. Within using their email they give us from kids and shooting that information to them, and just getting the word out. That's the best thing we could probably do with that, and just advertise a little better. I don't think we probably should do a better job of that, but we kind of went at it too late. I think we just need to do a better job of advertising, whatever. I think getting it out with the kids involved in the program now, I think that'll be a huge success, especially our basketball program. Well, some of those dads want to coach out there, want to play themselves. So you sit on the baseline, they want to be out there playing. So I think that would be a big part. So,
well, let me know when you get to that, because I can probably get us some free from teams that we have advance notice.
okay.
I didn't hear you mention soccer at all. And I know we had soccer at one point, so where do we stand in soccer?
Actually, we're meeting this week with the association. Group of guys who will come out there. I can surely, my week report, tell you how that goes. They want to use the facility to do that, and it could be a branding with us as well. So what we do, I think we're meeting them this week about them coming out there, which is adult soccer. So,
and then I probably just misheard you. You were probably talking pickleball. I wouldn't think about pickleball. And I also have volleyball in my brain because we're getting ready to start the season at church. So, has there been any talk about volleyball?
it has been mainly used. And with our sports center, you're looking at 3 months that members come in there, and some members don't like when they come in there, want to get right in the door or whatever. It is kind of chaotic during our basketball season, so we just got to be careful. I'm not saying that court is made. When we just redid the court, we put lines of the volleyball court out there and it's got sleeve in the floor. That's something we would definitely want to do. We'll probably have to do it on like all days when there's not a lot of members in there. So it's like, you know, people, they complain about having to walk a little bit further and then they walk in and they gotta be on the treadmill. So that's some of the stuff that we're having to deal with. They just want to be inconvenienced. And so that's just something that, you know, Simpsonville is really huge or maybe out in the youth, but I think we could tie that in with the adults and youth as well. But I've been getting phone calls about renting the space.
Yeah, and then what about the senior center? What can you tell us about it?
Senior center, well, we've had some staff changes up there, and so we are fully staffed now. They're going to start up this, got one that started already, and then she was already with us part-time, and she moved into full-time role up there. And then the part-time person that we hired has got COVID right now, so they're going to start. But, you know, that's seniors don't like change, and they want the exercise class, whatever. So we're doing some things with them. We may start doing some cooking classes. We're cooking for them next month. Again, breakfast. Mr. Sachs is there. I'm going to recruit him to help me cook. And so doing things like that, they love to eat. And so they love to see us cook. So that's what we're going to be doing as staff is just doing some activity.
We love to see you.
They love to see Gregory get on to me saying I'm cooking right. So
I like how he said he was going to ask him, but I did it in public.
All right, that's all the questions I have. Any further questions? I mean,
I do want to say something. I want to thank Greg. We did this master plan. It was a lot of meetings, getting stuff together. And if you know me, I'm a big busy person anyway. Sit down for like 30 minutes, virtually impossible sometimes. So I just want to tell thank you because he kept me straight and narrow with that and keep it focused. I should tell thank you for that. So appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One other comment, just as you know, a long time proponent of filling those fields on the weekend with gravel more than wise, but I can appreciate you see the numbers from actual rentals going up. But to your point, you're absolutely right. The places you don't necessarily get to see it, but I know that hospitality and accommodation will see it is when you pass those restaurants and it's filled with teams. Because I've done the same thing. Chick-fil-A, there's 30 blue uniforms in there. So I appreciate that that's a concerted effort from you because I think that's what it's.
Thank you.
thank you. All right. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. We have our second public comment section. Hearing none, we have committee concerns. Hearing none. We have one more item here.
So move.
Yes, I just made a motion. Okay, I motioned it. You seconded it. Any discussion?
See you next year.
Hopefully not that long.
8 months.
All in favor, say aye. The ayes have it. We are adjourned at 6:15. Next is public safety.
Oh, right. And then after that, pause. Let's speak about, or we probably already have. Hey, y'all.
I like the. Yeah.
Yes.
What? I don't know. Martin.
All right, I'll call the second committee meeting, public safety to order. It is about 6:16. March the 2nd. Hold on, what page? We have all committee members present as well as, Chief Miller, Chief McCollum, and Judge Dorado, and other important, he's not looking at me. Mr. Duncan.
Sorry. Sorry.
All right, we'll move into public comment. Hearing and seeing none, reading and approval of the minutes from February the 2nd.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Motion,
Second.
second, Mr. Kraling, any corrections or discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of the approval of the minutes from February the 2nd, say aye. Aye. None opposed, motion carries unanimous. Reports from our from our city officer, excuse me. This month we have Chief McCollum first.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we'll go with some brief stuff, our budget and all that, right in line where it needs to be. Also, we've actually implemented the new purchase system, actually it's county-wide, where it does the AP address instead of having to do several tones, tone out the other stations. It does it automatically, so it's a lot faster response time, and all it's working out very well for us.
Brian.
We'll go over the yearly report.
Yep. Slide it on the side, left side. Slide the slider. There's a slider on the left side. And then hit play. Slide it to go green. It comes on. I hit the play button. All right. I'll do it. Here, try the advance button real quick. Sweet. All right.
First one is the total instance. Will be the total instance for 2025. We run 5,655 calls. This or last year in 2024, we run 5,509 calls, 1.03% increase. And it has it broke down into what calls we run, different ones for that. The next one would be the department safe and loss values. Gives you total how many fires we had, structure fires, grass fires, vehicle fires, combined. That could be storage buildings or combined to origin. Other than mutual waves, we had 50 of those. Estimated dollar loss for the structure fires, $1.8 million. Estimated total dollar saved was $12.3 million. That's a good job on that. Then on the next one is our call volumes times a day. Like I said, I'll let y'all look at that, but you can see where a lot of it is still between 8 and 5 is really our busiest times. Any questions on that one? This one's gonna be for our fire marshal division code enforcement. We had a total inspections of 2025, 1,708, up 1.2% from last year. In the city, we had 1,011 that was inspected. In the district, we had 697 conferences that would be feasibility, pre-plan, or feasibility and plan reviews and stuff like that. We had new construction was 59 new construction for 2025. Then our training hours for 2025, total training hours was 15,940 hours. And if you see 2024 total training hours, 18,186. I think some of that is that we went to a new software, trying to get that information pulled over. But we're still trying to build reports to this day. We've been on a little over a year now, trying to get that information pulled over. But we're still right there consistent where we've been in the previous years. And our fire prevention program, we list out all things we've done fire prevention for 2025. Any questions?
I'll ask one quick question. The CPR classes, Is that a typical number that you would do? Because I know there's obviously a lot of other entities that do secret classes.
But most of the time, they don't use a call, but what we used to do is for city people, like staff at the sports center, or our, leadership staff, whatever can do it, that's what we use it for city.
No, I've done it for like churches and stuff in the
Yes.
past as well.
Yeah. And the next one is our heat map. As you can see, I mean, like I said, it's growing every year. You see a lot of stuff is on that western end too. And that's total calls and all. You actually break it down into certain call types and all that to see where your problem areas also are.
For those, I'm following 385, we got that big red mark.
And they say national health care. Then the other one, called Bell Road and all that, South Point. There's none.
Yeah.
That's what we was actually, me and she was talking earlier, just like, I think from January to now, lift this, keep saying we're going to lift it. And we've already run this year, 107 lift this already. And the next one is a project we started back, like I said, ATP. Actually wanted done our station side and all that, Station 1 on Miller Road. They actually come forth with us and they've actually got to talk about things they could possibly help us out with, and took our fire safety house and they re-vinyl sided. And then Christina Ortez actually done the wrap and all that, paid for that. And you can see, like I said, the total, like it was, well, AGP is $2,923.80. And to do the stickers and stuff on the side was $1,931. That was actually done without our taxpayer money. They actually done it for saving us to the city. So it was a big round applause for them. They're great partners to work with.
Right.
That will conclude our yearly report. Have any questions?
Just have one. One of your slides talked about good intent calls. What is the definition of a good intent call?
It could have, I mean, even though, let's say, possible smoke showing coming in, it could be somebody outside burning, or having an outside fire or something like that. Comes in a structure fire, but it's not. That's kind of stuff like that.
Someone thinks they see something, they say something.
So we get, especially in the summertime, or when dude gets on the roof and you start seeing steam, people call that and say it's on fire. I mean,
Very good. Thank you.
thank you.
Good report. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Judge Dorado? You're sandwiched in between them.
Odd number report. But before I begin my annual report, I just wanted to update you and let you know I just received our current CMS projected live date, which is right now scheduled for May 1st. We have a big kickoff meeting this coming Wednesday. I'll have more information. So our next meeting, I can update you further if that changes and kind of what they let us know and how progress is happening. As far as our judicial stats from 2024 compared to 2025, I'll just quickly go over with you our 2025 numbers and the increase from the year before. So for 2025, the cases filed in full court for criminal, we had 753, which is a 2% increase. DUIs, we had 112, which is a 26% increase. Traffic, we had 2477, 19% increase. Municipal ordinances, were up 73% at 156, which would include code enforcement and business license violations. Domestic violence was up slightly, 71 compared to 66 the year before. Next would be our dispositions, and I know I have them compared from 2025 to the year before, but what's most important to me is when I look how our cases are being disposed from when they're filed. So what's more important to me is that we have cases moving that are not just getting pushed and staying on the dock. So I like to compare the ones that are filed to the ones that are disposed in the same category. So for criminal, we had 779 that we disposed. DUIs, we had 100. Traffic was 2,400. municipal ordinances was 161, and domestic violence was 73. And then just looking down to some of our other numbers for preliminary hearings, we heard 87 preliminary hearings, which was actually down from the year before. Looking up the nearest preliminary hearings with the process of hearing that anyone that's charged with a crime that is per the general statutes, but anything above the court level, they are entitled to what's called a preliminary hearing. It's a probable cause hearing, so that's just up to them. They have 10 days after they're seen for bond to request that. If they don't, then they waive their right to appeal and go to initial hearing. So that just means we have less requested from the year before. Or court sessions, they were up slightly. We had 120 compared to 114. Our warrants went up 19%. I had signed 529 warrants in 2025 compared to 2024. Held 663 bond hearings compared to 556. That's also up 19%. And the big increase was our number of incarceration hours. We went from 15,789 in 2024 to 26,034 hours. That was our big jump. So I do attribute all the increases to city growth, population, continued police action. Any questions?
So I agree with the increase just with the growth of the city.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned that some of it has to do with you getting cases off the docket quicker, correct?
Correct, yeah. Yeah. And also with the number of incarceration hours, that would also be for any form for commitments that we issued. So people were given jail time that they did not come to court or for some reason did not abide by their plea, and we had to impose their suspended sentence, so our hours were getting increased in that as well.
Any other questions?
I think you answered it. The two numbers obviously that jump out is the municipal ordinance. You mentioned 73%.
Yeah.
I would expect that to continue to climb year to year as we get more involved in enforcement of those ordinances. The number of hours in incarceration, that's the one that I was like, how is that? I mean, does it equal like what everything else falls into, or is there?
It depends because it also matters on the level of crime. So if people have higher bonds or higher felonies and are not able to bond out, then that number grows. Like I said, the number of commitments for jail time imposed, so that'll go up as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Miller,
You
thawed out since the plunge.
So you said we had the polar plunge last week. It was a great turnout. I'll be traveling for this. I'll be my wife.
I'm calling Heather right now. Hold on. Heather, are you in a safe place? Yeah.
We were this in that. But I was sit back laughing. Yeah, I gotta jump in. She said, it'd be the right thing for you to do. So I jumped in. I had to stay there longer because she had to have her glasses that came off and I had to go back to her glasses.
And seriously, I was watching, I was like, why is he still in the water? Everybody's like rushing to the ladder. And then I saw the second place as she's pointing, they're right there.
And if you look at the picture, you'll see the pain from in my face. This coming Saturday at Bridgeway from 8 to 12. Sergeant said check to set up the gate Jeep Jam show and shine. I wrote that down because that's a lot of words. They're going to be having basically a Jeep show out there, and it's supposed to be helping sponsor the Special Olympics as the Polar Plunge did. We did a RFP for the RMS, so a proposal for the record and we'll let you know the future what we're looking at. Like I say, the budget is tracking along just right. One of the things we got here for 2025 was emergency response vehicle. And then go into the staff.
Did I get the slides or did you just send them to Cindy? Okay, I didn't see them, so let me see what I can do here for you. Yeah. I think if we leave it like that, you can use the answer and it should go page down for us. It's the right arrow. There you go. Okay. Yeah, let me zoom in just a little bit.
Okay, so basically I'm just, comparing this year or 2025s to 2024. Total calls and service went up about 700, not a whole lot there. Property checks, they went up about 2,400. So, officers are out there doing more property checks at night and during the day when they have downtime. The reports taken, there's a little bit of we had a down on those this year. A lot of that is for people who come in and ask for a report for lost cell phone stuff, and officers can do it. So all they need for case number to give to the phone company, and they'll give them another phone, and some of the other civil stuff that they can do reports on. Traffic citations went up just a little bit. One of the citations went up a pretty good bit. The officer, the traffic team, and the officer are out there keeping an eye on traffic. DUIs, they went up 80, so we've got them out there on night shift, and we've got quite a few on the day shift as well. Narcotics violations went up just a little bit. Motor vehicle accidents, they just went up a small bit. The accidents with injuries. Property crimes went up a bit. That's probably malicious damage and things like that. Violent crimes went down, which is of all the statistics, that's one of the better ones right there that we asked for. And then the total arrests went from 954 to 1113. The top three is for traffic citations for insurance violations, speeding, and disregarding sign or signal. And the top three reasons for warnings for speeding, disregarding stop sign or signal, and just other violations, such as just not having proper paperwork in the vehicle. As usual, the community team is killing it. They had over 180 events this week, actually, sort of set check. They had over 180 events. It's family awareness, active shooter events, and division prevention with kids at the school. Some of them noteworthy things. Some of them they did last year as well. And in 2024, they did again this year in the clutch with 93.7. That's just getting emergency items for victims of domestic violence. The rate progression events. The defense class is something that sort of subject went to get certified in, and she teaches the class for women and girls for rape defense. They went to job fairs, and of course the National Night Out over the Park, multiple trunk retreats. Elio Santa at the Wellness Center where they set up their little cart with beer goggles and everything, set the tours from the public. And then they did an Elio Santa toy delivery, which was a big hit. That consisted of not just Mauldin, but Greenville County, all the local police departments as well as fire departments throughout the county. We've done national coffee with the cop. Spoke, of course, we did this polar plunge. Fist pump Fridays, get in there and interact with the younger kids and basically the special ones. And we got some photos. There's in the clutch. We have there's some things in here from National Night Out, big stores. I didn't mention them. They've done a great job. As far as learning, our advisors are doing a phenomenal job teaching them. And we're going to competitions and doing very good. See, in the bottom, you got the rate progression defense class. You got a group of them. You got somebody doing the flamingo kick up there. Also, like I said, we've done coffee with cop at the
bakery over next to Crunch Fitness as well as here at, Summerlin. And the dog food, limit all, getting dog food, getting it to the shelves and everything. I think they've got like food going hard, let's see, whatever. Training, this year we're expecting 2,716 hours combined training between everybody. That consists of service, in-service training, advanced training, verbal de-escalation, and as always, we're putting emphasis on Omni with the National Alliance on Mental Illness training. We're making sure that whenever we get a new officer, if they had it, we make sure we have the certificate, if not, we send it to a class, which they have very often. And as usual, they're all encouraged to seek out advanced training, like to get them to set a career goal and improve the training based on their career goals are. That is all I got for my slideshow. If y'all have any questions.
Do you know how the, training hours compare to last year? It's pretty much in line.
It's just a little bit lower, but it's in line.
It's close. Like seeing that, and I just can't say enough about the increase in community involvement and.
Correct.
I tell you, that check just blows it out of the water.
Yes, she does. She's already.
That's what I was mad and better, she was just everywhere.
I told her she might need to slow down and not burn herself out. She says she doesn't have a slow gear. So.
I understand that.
So she's working on the May they're having fall at all of the states perspective.
Yes, I saw that, yes.
And I'll get updates and everything. That's some sponsors that help pay for the media. As far as all of that goes, that's all I've got. But I did sit down with Trevor Alton, public safety loss control consultant with the municipal association in the beginning of February. Basically, they're coming in looking at policies and the way we conduct business and everything. We have to do it all scored on. And then myself, Garrison, and Charles Osborne Monday will be leaving for Arizona for the CLIA conference. We'll be sitting before their council next week and answering their questions, and then they'll give us our accreditation.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
You said one, which is a bizarre question.
No.
Have a bizarre
One of those. But last night, or yesterday afternoon, I got a strange phone call from someone I haven't talked to in years who lives outside the state, who lives in the Midwest. And she was telling me, just updating me on where she was in life and everything that was going on. And she was talking about, well, I might want to move one day to West Virginia, but I can't because I got a DUI and I can't leave the state for a year. And I was just thrown back by that because one, like I said, I've spoken to her in ages, and it just made me think about, and this is why I'm bringing the question to you. Obviously, the DUIs, we have more DUIs now than we did a year ago. But tell us about the importance of why we shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car when you're impaired. Because obviously, she had her license taken away for over a year. And clearly, in my mind, at first, I didn't think about it. But then after I got off the phone with her, I'm like, how many violations did she have? Led to
usually it just depends on the state on how long the suspension is. I know we as a state has just instituted not too long ago that you can't leave the state if you got a provisional driver's license. Me personally, I have no sympathy for somebody who's driving under the influence for the simple fact that they control what's going on, and you got a family that's just driving down the road, has no control. You can have a collision and kill them. So, but that's why we're big advocates of DUI enforcement. We've also got 2 officers that are going down to the state in March, in a couple of days, to receive a order.
Anyway, it just got me thinking again about the importance of
you're safe behind the wheel. And, Valley heard to say to me, I believe, I think it was even more than 365, I think it was 380, which said, yeah, different state, totally different state, but it just took me aback. And of course, I think she learned from it, from that conversation last night, but
Yeah, and we're all, when we make mistakes,
oh
you
yeah,
just have to, it's just how you correct.
that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. All right. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Talk to the girl there about Miss Cody, those things. Miss Cody. You know, she said that you gave her a home, she with the home, she looked up those, surveys for homeless people, different places.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's all I've got.
Okay, we have no unfinished business and no new business. So we're back to public comment. No public comment, committee concerns. Seeing none, what do I have on adjournment?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Motion is approved. Next, public works. Okay, copy.
Bye, y'all.
Order the boards. Second, 6:45. 2:42. All right, continuing, for staff. Today, the public comment. Public comment. We move on to, Public Works Committee minutes and, reading of, approval of minutes.
Motion to approve as submitted.
And a second, any discussion? No discussion, all those in favor to approve as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign, let's have it, move approved. Report of communications, city officer, Mr. Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I've already been made fun of, but this is too long, so.
Don't wait.
I'll preface this by the fact that you all hired me and I'm an engineer, and you just have to know that I'm a builder, right?
We'll be graphs and all.
There will be graphs and data. All right, so we're gonna start off with sanitation. In sanitation, we keep track every month of how much we pick up in brush and leaves and trash and recycle. And, you know, at the end of the year, we had 8,900 some tons of trash. And may not mean anything until you compare it to what we did last year. Now, if you remember when we did this last year, I told you we had picked up the most trash ever. Well, we went ahead and did that again. To put it in perspective, the increase that we saw from 2024 to 2025 is equivalent to all of my trucks going out every day for a month. That's how much extra trash we generated in 2025 from 2024. Like basically a whole other month operation. Recycling, I mean, at least it's consistent, but it's down. And if you remember the transition from 2023 to 2024, that was when we went with the sidearms and said, if you want to have recycle, you got to buy a recycle can. And the $50 fee is just too much for the general public to overcome the recycle. As far as leaves and brush, a huge spike in brush, really, it's attributed to the Hurricane Helene. Although we finished Hurricane Helene, but we're still picking up more than we ever had. Leaves went down, they increased year over year. Basically, with Helene, the herd got thin. There just wasn't as many leaves because there weren't as many trees. We expect in the next couple of years for it to just get back up to where it was and stay on track with the trend. Streets division, we keep track of everything we do with streets. We employ different metrics as far as what they need to be doing. We change it as we evolve. We started doing more curbs last year. We've definitely made probably the last 3 years a major focus of our efforts to be in the stormwater. And so year after year, you can see that
You know, in 2025, we accepted, we have 5 more miles of roadway from the year before. And, you know, I have graphs kind of showing. So we, as far as drainage work, we keep track of how much we ditched and how much we piped, and you can see from year over year. We did actually do a little bit less ditch work in 2025 over 2024. However, we still did more than any time in the past. The amount of piping has increased by about 1,000 feet. This does take more time than digging a ditch, especially pipe is more engineering. And so, while it doesn't seem like a huge increase, it does require a lot more time to do it right. We focus more on roadways leading up to, because we didn't know at the time that we were going to do this $2 million paving. So we, from year over year, we actually doubled the mileage that we crack filled about 8 miles of roadway. That's 8-9% of our roadway inventory. And you know, we've seen as we've dealt with some of the neighborhoods, you know, the PCI scores taken before and after our crack filling work have actually, it's been demonstrated by a third party that our crack filling actually improves the overall scoring of the road. So the work we're doing is helping the roads. We will continue to do it. We're going to be very lucky to get a bunch of roads paved this year. Sewer is where this all started. The metrics in sewer are basically dictated by goals. We actually have legitimate goals in sewer division. These were set by me. There is an EPA standard, but my goals are 2.5 times the EPA standard. Just because we expect the best. From year over year, you know, we've got a few more miles of sewer. The goals we put in place were about 900 manholes inspected a year, 25 miles of sewer to be cambered and cleaned. US EPA requirements 10% of your system. So, like I said, our goals are 2.5 times. You can see as this trend of since 2020, we worked to get it up above the goal. We maintained that for the last 3 years. We did dip a little bit in 2025. We had some staffing changes, and the difficulty in bringing new staff members in is they're not certified with NASCO. So you go to the next slide, you can see that while we couldn't do as much camera and cleaning, we did more manhole inspections because that's where we start with the training. So once again, far exceeding the goals that we set forth and CMON with REWA and US EPA standards. Collection system repairs, we pretty much stay consistent. We're doing point repairs and manhole repairs as we find them. It did go down a little bit in 2025, and the simple explanation for that is that we got that extra $1 million given to us as a sewer rehab project, and we wanted to make sure that they had enough work to use that $1 million because it has to be spent by June. And so anytime we saw a point repair, we just gave it to them. Get it done. Well, no, that's not entirely true. We evaluated them, and if it's greater than 12 feet, we gave it to them, and if it was less than 12 feet, we'll do it. There's an inherent danger when you start working deeper than 12 feet. We do have shoring, but you end up having to bench, and it's very time consuming, and the reward didn't exceed the risk. So we gave it to the third party contractor. This is just keeping track of the rehab. We got another rehab in 2025. It's going to spike again when we do this next year because the end of 2025, they were cameraing all the sewers to be relined for the last of the money. And so now we were in no, but you've seen that they're out there, they're relining everything right now. Fleet. So I've given some fleet information before. I wanted to go in a little bit more detail just to kind of give you an idea of how good of the mechanics we have here for the shut in the city. You know, when you look for year after year, you can see there's a trend that's increasing. And obviously we do the most work in police cars. That's because they're on the road the most. They need more oil changes. They have more maintenance issues. They need tires. We have more cars. They're traveling a lot. There's just more maintenance. There's 2 guys in the fleet. You can see in the trends for the last few years, everything's pretty much consistent. But you can see from 2024 to 2025, the number of work orders, that's a 25% increase in workload. Well, actually took on a 25% increase in workload, and we've had no hiccups. I mean, and they were already operating at, one of the best, and I can't say enough about these guys. They're extraordinary. And they've handled everything, and they continue to handle everything. You're very lucky to have them. Parks, this is what I've always kind of presented to you as, hey, this is parks, this is where they spend their time. I wanted to do a little bit more about parks this year because they're doing a whole lot more. We've taken on beautification projects. You've all seen our stage, you've seen the backdrop of the stage. You know, the wooden walking bridge, that's been completely remade as a concrete walking bridge. There's planters and sod and trees all over the cultural center grounds, tying it all together. You may or may not even notice, but like where the scary hallway extends from the structure, you know, there was always that hill. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but it's completely grass. Like it was one of those things that was like, well, there's always just been pine needles. Like, guys, could we get grass there? Made it happen, put in an irrigation system, and they got grass. And it's just, we continue to work around improving every aspect of those grounds to really make them, you know, support the kind of infrastructure we have in place. Sunset Park, if you haven't been out there, both at the entrance on both sides of the entrance, we have planners with simulating the same kind of design structure that we have here in the cultural center. You know, we have the boulders, we have the black mulch, we have the plantings, we have the raised bed garden stones. They have two of them in the entrance. They've done them throughout the park. The legacy drainage issues around the Miracle League field where you had mud coming down from the upper parking lot through the bathrooms. It's all been redone. City Hall, we go to any entrance here at City Hall. They're all been reworked and they're all part of this consistent design. So, you know, this is where they're spending their time. These are the things that are getting done. It's not just cutting grass and putting pine straw down. And so it's been a really banner year for those guys. They've really done a good job. This is the first time I'm actually presenting building maintenance division information to you. We used to not track the building maintenance stuff, but a couple years ago when we implemented the asset management software for the sewer department, you know, it was really successful. And then we threw in streets, stormwater, and then we were like, well, let's put the park stuff in there and let's do all the fleet stuff. Well, we're doing that. We might as well do all the buildings too. So year after year, you can see that those guys are handling every work order. Not everything's captured, and we're going to work as we move forward to make sure. But you know, there's a lot of work orders like, hey, hang this cabinet in judicial, put up this tie rack. We're not really capturing those things, but as far as the HVAC issues, the filters, the preventative maintenance, testing and running of generators, all the inspections, all that's getting into the system. And for year after year, they're getting more and more productive. And aside from the building maintenance division, you know, that's the summary of all of my slides. They, at Public Works, you know, we pulled off all the festivals, the Christmas, the Walk of Lights, the Barbecue Fest. We continue to knock those out of the park without incident. You know, you don't even see us. And that's really the essence of a great public works department. It gets done and no one notices. No one sees us. So this keeps getting better, and I'm so glad I'm a part of it. So, you guys have any questions?
Not a question, just comment that kind of to your point. You're not seen, and for that, you know, I just think that your department, that our residents just do not understand and don't see on a day-to-day basis what you're going to see, and it's just amazing. And you know, I look at a lot of data as well, but what you presented tonight, from the parks to the beautification, and you know, the one, the last slide actually is what stood out to me. Maybe it's because we never seen that before, but you know, our residents, they don't know that we have, most of them, I would assume, do not know that, you know, your department takes care of all the maintenance of all of our city buildings, and it gets done, and it gets done well, and our parks are taken care of. So yeah, hats off, doing a great job, and we have a great staff.
I really do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments. One on the grant you were talking about, $1 million grant, or will we expend all of those funds by the?
Yeah, so it was originally, it was the $4 million grant.
Right.
And then we had put in for an RIA grant, but the next year's, we always budget for rehabilitation and capital budget. And so they're like, well, instead of doing the RIA, can we just give you another $1 million on skip? And so we were like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely. And so they're like, just make sure it gets spent by like July 1st. And it's like, well, I don't. So the crew's already in place, but all we did was just issue a change order for it and a work order to go camera clean and line these sewer. That's why they're working in Mauldin, because they know it wasn't really part of the rehabilitation project. It was, oh, we have funds. Go over there. Yeah.
Very good. And then second comment, following by Ms. King, one of the things I was talking to, said a few weeks ago, which was interesting, and I don't think many times people think about, even from our position, is, when the snow comes through and we go outside and sled with our kids and have a blast, those guys go and work the roads, but where they're not is at home with their kids, sledding with their kids. So it's one of those sincere things that I think that this comes with, a better job. Well, that they're they're not even aware, but not just the guys out in the field, but the families at home, which is something sincere and close to me. So please pass along that appreciation. That's not unseen, it's probably unsaid, but it's unseen. That's all I have.
I'd like to add to that, Mr. Reynolds, a couple of weeks ago, I got so frustrated because I was sucked into something reading and it was negative. And I'm like, you know what? And it was towards Mauldin PW. And I'm like, people don't see the good that happens 364 days a year. They only see that one day that their trash gets missed or their trash can turns over. And so, I've tried to do a better job to remind people of that. Because it's just, unfortunately, it's the society we live in and we know that. But, if it frustrates me, hopefully your people don't see a lot of that stuff that's out there. But I just reiterate that, I think I can speak for this committee that we certainly know that they're doing a fantastic job. And, if your trash can's turned over one day, then maybe the wind was blowing a little bit harder.
It happens.
It does happen.
But I mean, I will say, when I started, this is 6+ years ago, we got a lot of complaints all the time. Now we get some every once in a while. There's the keyboard warriors on Facebook. But I've been here long enough to have seen, the putrid hatred and the mistakes that they made, that we made.
It's not as bad.
Well,
That's a lot less.
it's significantly less. I mean, we log all the calls in the public works and
Exactly.
Now it's a lot more questions than it is complaints. So like we're doing something right. It's definitely transition. We just continue to work and improve every day.
That reminds me. My trash can broke, and I'm pretty sure it was your side arm.
It's all about others.
You pass your side.
No, I was gonna say one thing is I think some people do see it, because I was just thinking when you were saying that, the first Each and Friday, but the Friday concert series last year, we were walking up, my wife noticed it, of course, but other people, I heard them say, oh wow, look, they've done this, and then people were just naming off the grass changes, the way it looked. They were mentioning it as I was walking in. So people do see it, they just don't talk about it. So just keep that with you. I think people are seeing.
Yeah, they may not also. They may think that you're just paying other people to do it. They may not know that it's public works.
Well, the Christmas lights.
Christmas lights. The big rock monuments, the behind the stage. Yeah, we did that.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you. All right, move on. Finished business, there is none. New business, there is none. Public comment. Public comment. Committee concerns. No committee concerns. We're here in adjournment.
So maybe.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Well, damn.
Yep.
I won't be in prime. Wait.
You can always come on. You're like, wait a minute.
East. Call the order of business development services meeting. For March 7th, 2022. So, we're here, as well as. All right, public comment. None. Order reading approval minutes.
So move.
Motion second. Discussion. None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote like sign, hearing none, they pass. Mr. Deer Hall, welcome to the stage.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Right, good evening. Chairman, team members. All right, I'm gonna walk you through our 2025 year in our department. Went through permits and some other things. We're gonna start off with permits though, and this first chart on the residential permits. One thing that always stands out to me when I look at this is just seeing the difference before and after COVID. But you can see we've been maintaining a pretty high level of residential permits going out since COVID. Want to look a little closer at the new permits for new homes. This chart closely kind of follows the last chart. The new homes and the residential permits both rebounded in 2025. And in fact, for new homes, that was the second most that we've ever issued in a calendar year, second to 2023, just barely missed that mark. But I'll do it next time. Based on the number of lots that we are seeing being developed right now, we do forecast that the number of new homes permitted in 2026, which are shown as approximately going to be about 396, will be much less than the number that we permitted this last year. And we're seeing a lot of our large developments winding down, like Arden Woods and Parkland, and some of these other big ones. When we get into, I stuck this one in here real quick just to show kind of the monthly breakdown. You can kind of see we've been plateauing out at a little lower level ever since June of last year, and that's trend's been continuing even up through this month, last month, February. But we do have a few new subdivisions that were approved last year and are on the way. These are smaller, so they're not certainly going to replace the level of construction that we've been seeing in some of the current ones that are winding down. But Park Towns of Fowler, they've started the development and grading work out there in Fowler Circle for those 38 townhomes. The other two on here have not begun any development site work yet, but expecting the estates at Mauldin to pick up their development work probably in the latter half of this year. And Goodwin Reserve, there's a few mysteries there. I'm not sure what that one started yet. While I'm talking about residential permits and development, I wanted to actually go ahead and highlight a little bit about the real estate sales for residential in the city. We've had a lot of residential sales. In fact, when you look at this chart and see 2025, the number of sales each year, it's just kind of continued to creep up a little bit. And that certainly looks like this could be one of the most active years we've ever had in the city of Mauldin for residential sales. One other thing that's interesting to notice on this chart is since 2022, the number of sales of new homes has outpaced the number of sales of existing homes. However, this last year, we did see that gap was slightly narrowed. And based on what we're projecting for the number of new homes to be constructed this coming year and beyond, we expect that gap to continue to tighten and sales of existing homes to catch back up again and maybe even surpass new homes. On this one, I just want to highlight one thing really. If you follow the light blue line, that light blue line is the number of sales of new townhomes. And it's been interesting to watch the progression of that over the years to 2025. And what was interesting in 2025 is that became the most popular type of sale, a residential sale in the city. of these 4 different groups that I've grouped them into. And that's first. But I think that speaks to some of the market demand for townhomes. And even though a lot of us maybe come from a background where we like the detached home with the big backyard and all that kind of stuff, certainly there's some appetites that are changing, trends that are changing in that type of housing, and some preferences for having smaller yards that you don't have to maintain, and as well as the affordability that townhomes offer in comparison to detached homes. But I'm going to show that right now and kind of show a little bit what's going on with the sales prices. So what's interesting in this is that the average cost of a townhome actually slightly dipped in 2025, not by much, but in comparison, the blue line on top is detached homes and the average price of those, and they hit a surge a little bit in 2025, surging all the way to over $400,000 is the average cost of a home that was sold in Mauldin. So sale amounts continue to climb. Not too much I want to highlight here on building inspections. It's following the trend as you've seen but I do want to say that we've got a great couple of inspectors, and it's been night and day having them on board compared to the days when we were contracting out RCI. Remember, in some of our final days with RCI, they were sending 3 inspectors up here daily to handle the workload. Been grateful for the load that our 2 inspectors have been handling in their place, and we used to get a bit of complaints from contractors and the public about the RCI inspectors. We just almost never have any complaints now about the new inspectors. So they're doing incredible now. Commercial permits, it may look like it's up and down here, but really what this is showing you is a pretty steady, pretty flat. It's a pretty flat chart right here. All right. We did issue a record number of business licenses. There are a couple of things that drove this. Number one is we had some new events in the city in 2025 that brought out a lot more market vendors than we had in the past. And so them getting their licenses helped buoy up this number. And the second thing is our department has really been trying to identify property rentals, specifically home rentals, where there's no license there. And so we've been targeting our enforcement on that to a degree. And that is also added to this number. This next chart, don't really have too much I need to say about this. You know, kind of by now the pattern of renewals when they're due at the end of the month. With the record number of business licenses, you would figure that means that a bigger percentage of the licenses this last year were new licenses. And certainly that's what we saw. We've actually seen over the last 3 years the number of new licenses that, as a percentage of overall license we issued, become a bigger part of that pie. These are some of the new businesses that we welcomed in 2025, and some of these may look familiar to you. A lot we are grateful for a lot of the new restaurants we have and some of the services like daycares and other things that have come to Mauldin and are becoming part of our community. But I also want to comment in terms of economic growth that our largest economic growth in 2025 was among business management, manufacturing, finance and insurance, which that may not come as a surprise, as seen a new bank probably at one of the places lately, and then wholesale trade. That's having those sectors lead our economic growth is great. Those are primary sectors there, especially manufacturing. When I say business management, I'm talking about growth in companies who have headquarters here. So that's a great thing to see with those types of businesses grow. Our largest economic recession involved in 2025 was among the retail trade industry, and that should not come as surprising to those following national trend.
That's the annual report I have for you, and see if there's anything else from my monthly report that I need to highlight. We are in a full swing of renewal season. Business licenses, we have 30th. Did permit this last month, the upfit for the East Concession building at the new soccer stadium. See that further along. We have some new business license we issued this month for restaurant bakery down on East Butler Road called Carrera. Maybe if I said that right, bakery. This is actually their second location in the city. We have a new office for Rise Prevention on Union Ferry Road. Rise is a public health nonprofit dedicated to drug and addiction prevention programs and services for youth. We have a new salon down at 1140 East Butler Road called Simonian Salon. And there's a new Verizon store that opened in Mauldin at 174 Road. Welcome new businesses there. That's the report I have for you. Glad to take any questions you might have.
I always have one. What would be, it's more like a statement. It'd be really cool if there was a way to kind of look at, you take like Chief McCone and how he does his little heat map, to see a heat map on where things stand with our commercial growth and our residential growth. I think that would be really neat to see, particularly as we continue to work on that conference. That's all I've got.
We'll do that, so I'll get that.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Gerald.
Thank you.
All right, unfinished business, none. New business, none. Public comment? None. Committee concerns? None. Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Same time, we are adjourned at 7:13.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, me too. Almost like it'd be nice if.